Hi, welcome. I'm Nick, podcasting to you from the Nick Flanagan Weekly Studios here in lovely Toronto, Ontario. There's not much to tell you about me. I'm a man. I'm a person. I'm a human. I have Canadian citizenship. I have been to certain places in the world several times. I have done several things. I have rocked several stages in various ways. And now I'm here talking to you. Huh? It's not too bad, is it? And thank you for joining me. I appreciate it very much. No matter what you're doing, no matter what you're wearing right now, no matter where you are, no matter what way you're listening to this audio-wise. Are you listening headphones, Bluetooth, wired, speaker, Bluetooth wired, transcript? I don't know if that would count as listening to it, but if you're just reading the transcript, I appreciate it. Did you take your vitamin D today? We're getting to that time. I don't know about you, where you're living, but where I am, around November, things get cold. And so, the things you hear are this. Take your vitamin D. So, take your vitamin D. But also go out and get some vitamin D because the sun is out, even if it doesn't seem like the sun is out. Which probably is a great way to approach life. Am I right? If you think I'm right, or you have a quibble with that thing I just said, please message me at weaklypodcast@gmail.com. WEAKLY podcast@gmail.com. That inbox has been light lately, so if you're listening, pipe up and tell me I'm doing a great job, or respond to the thing I said earlier. I think people are listening, but I haven't heard from some of you lately because I took that long break. I have this cup I'm drinking from right now. Beautiful cup. It says Toronto on it. It's a City of Toronto cup. It has an old City of Toronto logo. But when I drink from it, it makes this weird whistling sound. And I know about people and sounds. They're very triggered by sounds. So if you heard a whistle just then, I apologize. And it bothered you, I apologize. What games am I staring at right now? I'm directly staring at my games. Part of my game collection, the PlayStation 2 games, directly sit in front of where I record. I'm looking at copies of Devil May Cry. I'm looking at copies of Devil May Cry 3. I'm looking at Return to Castle Wolfenstein, Burnout 3 Takedown, all for the PlayStation 2. All interesting and fun games. And there's a lot of other games here. I got some Rockstar. You guys know Rockstar? Hey, where's my copy of Manhunt 2? So the Rockstar Games is the company that does Grand Theft Auto, which I think you probably know, right? You know what I mean? Like everyone knows Grand Theft Auto. It's a cultural limestone. I think that's the term. Rockstar has done... They did something at some point where they were like, we're edgy. We're going to do edgy games that are sort of the moment. The moment in basically being like early 2000s. So at some point, maybe in 2001, they made a game called State of Emergency. State of Emergency is basically a game where you're just in a riot. You're just in a riot and you're beating the heck out of each other. And looting. It was a controversial game when released. I've got Grand Theft Auto 3, Grand Theft Auto Vice City, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, and Grand Theft Auto Liberty City Stories for the PlayStation 2. I have some other Grand Theft Autos, but those are my PlayStation 2 Grand Theft Auto games. I think the only one I'm missing is Grand Theft Auto Vice City Stories. So if you want to mail me a copy of that, weaklypodcast@gmail.com. Also, they've got a game called The Warriors, which is based on the movie The Warriors. And if you if you play one video game based on a movie, play the Rockstar Games version of The Warriors. It is, and you're a fan of the movie The Warriors. If you're a fan of the movie The Warriors, the Rockstar adaptation of The Warriors has tons of the original actors coming back doing their voices. It's kind of a news story. Pretty amazing game. And then I've got a game called Manhunt 2. It's a valuable game to some extent. And Manhunt 2 is well known just because it's brutally violent. And those are the Rockstar games I have. Yes, this is a show of tangents. I hope you like tangents. Nobody likes tangents. I went on my friend Tom Henry's podcast the other day. That was exciting. That's happened. He's put it out. You can either download it in the podcast world or watch it on YouTube, which is, I really recommend that because he has a whole TV setup and like he has a set and he has lighting and it sounds good. It's great. I went over and I recorded it with him and I appreciated it. But really, like, the first thing he does is say, don't derail this podcast by changing the subject. Derailing, changing the subject isn't necessarily derailing, and I just have many things to say about many things. Is that so bad? But, yeah, that was a treat going on Tom's podcast. He told me it was well received. So give that a listen. Maybe I'll have him on. I've been seeing him do a lot of comedy lately too. He's been on a tear. He's cracking folks up these days. Good for him. It's taken me a really long time to get this podcast episode out. I'm very sorry. I don't feel like I want to go into the whys too hard. But, let's just say, Anyway. I'm here now. And as the weather gets colder, sometimes our brains, we get a little more down, you know? And we turn to things for comfort, so I thought I'd give you a November comfort tip. Maybe if I record another podcast in the month, or just through December, I'll give you some further winter tips. Today it's the movie tip. Pull out the big guns when the weather gets cold and your mood gets down. When you're stuck inside. Pick a favorite. Pick a favorite movie and throw it on. Hopefully it's not a depressor. You know, if your favorite movie is like Schindler's List, Sophie's Choice, Boy in the Striped Pajamas, Life is Beautiful, Jacob the Liar, Apt Pupil, Marathon Man, The Boys from Brazil, I feel like actually, what's that one? Inglourious Bastards actually kind of is a feel-good movie. So is The Boys from Brazil, if you've seen that demented movie. But if it's a Holocaust movie, maybe pick a different favorite. That's really what I'm trying to say. But what I picked, and actually this movie does have a World War II tie-in. And Hitler is in it. Spoiler alert. But Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. They really didn't need to make more Indiana Jones after that one, folks. And, you know, they maybe didn't even need to make any Indiana Jones before. I wrote yesterday on the Accursed app/website Threads, I wrote, well, I think sometimes Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade is my favorite movie. It's probably my favorite Steven Spielberg movie. It's just so fun. The acting is so good. It flows around. It's a good time. It has high stakes. It's got World War II in it, but it's not depressing. And I threw it on. I got a little stressed out last night. I threw it on. I haven't even finished it yet. I've seen it so many times. I saw it in the theater with my dad, and it's a movie about Indiana Jones and his dad. Indiana Jones is a character played by Harrison Ford. His father is played by Sean Connery. Sean Connery. Magnetic. Charismatic. Never someone it was easy to feel comfortable around, watching. Kind of felt like he had this barely suppressed rage most of the time. But Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade is one of the few movies where Sean Connery is likable and plays somewhat against type. And he was only 12 years older than Harrison Ford at the time of the movie being filmed. But because Harrison Ford got older in the 80s and Sean Connery got older in the 70s, you could really tell that self-care had taken some massive leaps in between those two. And I think Sean Connery may have been a veteran of some war as well, which always kind of probably ages you. But Sean Connery seemed like he was Harrison Ford's dad, so well done. There's actually a lot of actors who were not that old who look old as hell in that movie. But anyway, so my ultimate tip for you about if the doldrums hit, no matter the weather, let's be real, the doldrums can hit anytime. Throw on that movie that makes you feel jazzed. That movie where maybe even if you're alone, you're talking to the camera, but to the television, but in a happy way. That's what I was doing. Oh, they got to find Marcus. Saying this type of thing. At one point, they're looking for Marcus. What's your favorite comfort movie? Let me know. Especially if it's odd. weaklypodcast@gmail.com. Yeah. I'm really trying to get some engagement here. And speaking of engagement, if you do want to drop me some cash for the pod, go to ko-fi.com/Nick Flanagan. Send a little donation there. There's also Patreon if you look at my name. It doesn't really have much in the way of perks, but I do appreciate the support and appreciate the support that people have given me. People like Fiona or Sarah or Jamie. Different people are on that patron list, and I appreciate it very much. You are cool. I'm also having really inane dreams as the weather changes. Nobody wants to hear about dreams, so I'll make it quick. I dreamed that someone gave me a positive eBay review for an item I sold them. Does this mean, like, I don't actually have any worry in my life? Like, what is that? If that has symbolism to it, what on earth could that symbolism be? That I crave validation? Is that just what that dream is telling me? Probably. Don't answer that. That's not a question I want you to email me about. I guess another thing you could do is like winter markets if you're living in this type of temperature. Does that appeal to you? We got a winter market. I'm sure we have a few here in the T-Dot. And let me tell you, I don't know. I don't really want it. I go, first I got to go to the distillery district. That's nowhere near where I live. It's in an area called the distillery district. I went there once and I was like, oh, it's cold out. I'll get a hot chocolate. And then the hot chocolate was $8. And I said, I don't know. No, I don't want the hot chocolate anymore. Thank you. Put the whipped cream down. I'm not getting that hot chocolate. Another thing I gotta say is, and I'm bad at this too, this is me just projecting. If something's expensive, don't get too mad at the person you're talking to. the employee. If you're like, hey, I want a shawarma. And they're like, the shawarma is $47. So don't like reach over the counter and grab their collar and say, what? No. Start a new account on social media. Anonymously complain about that price. Do not ever directly confront an employee. That could go badly. Speaking of employees, the one thing I did want to talk about today was Olivia Nuzzi. Olivia Nuzzi, you heard of her? Olivia Nuzzi. She is a writer. She wrote for New York Magazine. Now she's like the head of Vanity Fair. She wrote for New York Magazine and had to resign because she was having some sort of a virtual internet-driven affair with Robert Kennedy Jr. And so she resigned. And then she got a job as like the head writer of some department at Vanity Fair. That's awesome. For her. I want that kind of life. Where you just screw up majorly. And then they're like, you're hired. We want it. How can I get there? Because right now I'm just in my room. The problem is you need to leave your room in order to achieve this failing upward dream that I'm trying to reach? Because that's going to be a problem. That will be an obstacle, as the French say. Do you have to go to more winter markets? Do you think that's what happened? Because she's in New York, she like gets resigns from New York Magazine in somewhat disgrace because of this. She's a journalist. She shouldn't be having an affair with this guy who at the time was running for president. And he had nothing to drop out of. He was set to become the new health boss of the United States, which makes total sense, right? That makes sense. He's doing all the stuff that Robert. I'm going to get back to Olivia Nuzzi, but first of all, I want to take a thing with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. It's so funny because it's really, he's getting rid of red dye. Everyone's like, that's good, I guess. We don't really need red dye, do we? Although, in the old days, you'd get that Chinese food with the plum sauce that was that bright, bright red. Pretty appealing. Anyway, that's done, and people are like, oh, that's sort of like a low priority good idea. And then the new thing is they're like banning pharmaceutical ads on television, which, I mean, those ads were long, so that was always a problem. Those were always very long and boring ads. Maybe as I've gotten older, maybe my mind will change and I'll be quite interested in them. But for me, when those ads comes on, I'm not like, it's not a Coca-Cola polar bears thing. I'm bored. So that's good. Do you think that's why he wanted to have them canceled? They're just boring? Like, it isn't even a health thing? So he did that, and it's like, yeah, it's probably good. Like, you shouldn't have people, advertise like it's a beer or something, a medical item. But, like, at the same time, TV shows, radio, podcasts, these guys have been talking about prescription drugs for years. People would just probably get their prescription. Those are always the best ads, by the way, for prescription drugs. Is, People magazine being like, this person is very open about being on Ozempic. Then everyone's like, oh, well, if they're open about being on Ozempic, I'm going to definitely do the Ozempic. Or on the Howard Stern show, they used to always talk about Ambien. You know, the sleeping pill that in the U.S. was like a thing, might still be a thing. So, well, that's great that they're not having the ads, but like, really, you know, as long as there are people talking about stuff, if you're allowed to talk about pills, that's going to be the ad. And I don't know. I mean, were people really paying attention to those ads? First of all, how are those ads even effective? Because at the end of every one of those ads, they go, the side effects are you will die, but it's long. Here's a long, boring list of fatal side effects. Every drug. But, so he's doing that. And those are like not bad ideas. And then the other stuff is just like, you know, we have these really shaky surveys about autism only existing because of we're not eating enough red meat. We're not eating enough raw meat or something. Anyway, enough about that guy. Olivia Nuzzi. He's going to come back into the conversation, but do you think Olivia Nuzzi, after she got fired, she like went to the winter market in Times Square, wherever the fancy New York winter market is, you know, she goes there and she sees Graydon Carter from Vanity Fair, and he's like, "No, Olivia, what's new?" "I'll just get one of these hot chocolates. Graydon, give me a moment, I'll be right with you." Okay. Graydon sits there, he's just looking at his phone. With Apple Watch, he seems like he'd just have an Apple Watch and would be looking at that. She's finally finished, and he's like, "That's a shame that they had to let you go from New York." She goes, I know. What are you going to do next?" She's like, "I'd like to be the editor of your magazine." Okay, sure. You know, all because it happened in New York, you know? You just meet someone at the market, next thing you know, you get the job as the editor of Vanity Fair. Fuck. I don't know about that riff. I liked it. That's the worst part. I did enjoy telling that anecdote. So I'm going to keep it in. So now I got to go get a winter market budget in my already meager budget? This doesn't seem fair. But now the New York Post, I guess you also wrote a book. She resigns, she writes a book, and now she's the head editor at some Vanity Fair aspect. It's the world's greatest scandal. This is the most profitable scandal I've ever heard. And her, according to the New York Post, Olivia Nuzzi and Robert F. Kennedy Jr., in their steamy back and forth texts, they talked about something called felching. I don't like that. As Junior Soprano said, I don't like it. Anyway, I guess I need to be more of a visible fiend, and things will work out a lot better for me. I did have a listener question. This is asked by Tim, who sent me a letter. He lives on Rusholme Road, and he sent me a letter. Of all the different bands and musical things you have done, which is your favorite? And what is your most cherished memory from being in bands, etc.? Of course, asking someone their favorite musical project is a dicey proposition, especially because I do it so sporadically at this point. But I will say that the band I'm in, Wrong Hole, with my friend Andrew, and I have different people have been in the band, but it's mostly me and Andrew at this point. Although John Schouten big part of us. Great keyboard sound. But Wrong Hole is the band, and when we can come up with songs, it's always very simple and very satisfying. So I love that. Brutal Nights was together for about 8 years, which is probably... Well, Wrong Hole has technically been around for longer, but we were much more active in Brutal Nights, and just the amount of stuff we got to do was really fun. You know, we traveled all around the US, Canada, Europe. That's great. People in Indonesia were bootlegging our tapes. We had Russians fans. I love it. So that's so cool. So with that, in terms of the impact of Brutal Nights, like that is, I guess, my favorite. But, you know, Teen Crud Combo was like my first band that like got a small label was like, we want to put out your 7-inch. And that was really fun because I was with my friend Allison. It was really, I mean, the best thing to me about being in a band is going to sound so dumb, but like, if it's the kind of band where you're in a van together and everyone loves music, sometimes you like hear new music that you didn't know about or you didn't appreciate before. So I always loved that about touring. And that, you know, in Teen Crud Combo, for various reasons, I was learning about a lot of music that I would really come to love, from like LA hardcore punk to Texas hardcore punk to garage rock and bands like Gun Club or Swell Maps or whatever. Good stuff. So Teen Crud Combo was when I really had fun writing lyrics too. I mean, if I'm in a band where people are being really entertained by lyrics I'm writing, and then I get to execute them with people who really can play very well, it's a great feeling. What can I say? And then he's saying, what's your most cherished memory from being in bands? Again, you know, you can't really pick one in some ways, because if you've been in a band that plays even a little bit around, you get to play some really strange shows, and those are like irreplaceable. But, so I'm going to take it out of the band thing, as in any of the bands I was in, and I'll say one of the coolest things I did was when Dawn Pyle interviewed me for... She didn't interview me. I interviewed Dawn Pyle, and I'm such a mess. I don't even know where... I haven't even put that episode out yet. And it was years ago now. That's insane. I'm a jerk. But I've got to put this Dawn Pyle interview out. It's really good. Anyway. Dawn Pyle had a book called Trouble in the Camera Club that's all photos he took in the 70s and into the 80s of concerts he was attending. So these great black and white photos of shows at Massey Hall or Larry's Hideaway, old punk bands, sometimes touring bands. Really cool. And then he set up a release show for the book where there was this house band that was comprised of everyone from the Sadies except for Travis Good, because Travis lived out of town. So it was Sean Dean, Mike Belitsky, Dallas Good, and I think that was the house band. And then he had different singers come in and play like old punk songs from Canadian punk songs, which was really good. He got Carolyn from Fifth Column, who were sort of a early, could call them almost a Riot Grrrl band, but way before Riot Grrrl was a thing. Their contributions to zines and albums actually helped inspire bands like Bikini Kill. Carolyn sang a song, and I think Damien from Fucked Up must have sang a song. And, well, Dawn asked me to sing 2 Teenage Head songs. Teenage Head are like one of the great Canadian bands, definitely one of the great Canadian punk bands. And they have this small but powerful discography that's just like wild. And the singer, Frankie Venom, eventually passed away. My girlfriend hates it when people say passed away. He died. I don't know. I like passed away. It has a formality to it, even if it's strange and vague and dances around what it is. But anyway. And I played the show, and I went, and they got Gord Cumming, who is Gord Cumming. Hang on. I'm an old man now. Gord Lewis. They got Gord Lewis. Ugh. They got Gord Lewis from Teenage Head, the guitarist, the incredible guitarist, to come out and play guitar with us for the songs. So I practiced the song with the Sadies, who, are my pals, but also I've loved since like the late 90s when I was like a teenager, and I got to rock out with them. But then on top of that, I'm singing Picture My Face and You're Tearing Me Apart, these two incredible Teenage Head songs, to a packed venue with the guitarist from Teenage Head playing with us. How could it get much better than that? It doesn't, folks. And those have been really fun. The few times where I've been asked to sing a song with a band or do that, I felt like I'm like, oh, they wanted me to step out and do it. I recorded a song with my friend Roy from Sexarinos and Red Mass that he put out on a tape. That was a really fun collaboration too. He just had lyrics and he had something in mind. He wanted me to sing it. And I'm so awkward about it. God. So Tim, does that answer your question? I really hope so. This has been a chill return to your podcasting schedule from me. Thank you for listening. You are the greatest. We'll talk soon.